What a year it was, truly. Cosmos had a great year, and today we're here to celebrate it. I think we have over 20 people lined up. Welcome to everyone. We got 135 people already here. Share the link to this video with everyone that you know, everybody that you think should know about Cosmos, because I think Cosmos is about to explode. This is important. We're going to recap the year. We're going to look what's coming in 2024. We already have 5-6 people backstage. So we want to make it quick. But before, let's get our hosts up. We have Habibi Sito from Team Cryptosito. My man, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. I already see an Easter egg in the video, and it's right here. I actually saw two. Is this one? What do you guys think? Like this one or this one? Make Adam great again.
That is the stride hat, I think, is Cosmos Medellin, and this one is Cosmos Istanbul, huh?
Yeah.
I like both. I like both. But yeah, so Basil is part of the Cryptosito team, also part of the Cosmos team, which I think we're going to be talking about today as well. Then we also got our third co-host, Andy from the Roll Up. My man, how are you doing?
What's up, boys? Gonna have some fun today. We got a stacked panel, tons of energy, a lot of excitement in Cosmos. Gonna get some alpha for our friends and learn some stuff. So yeah, thanks for being here. Just real quick, a bit about us. We run, and my co-founder Rob, which you can bring him up. We run the Roll Up. We started in early 2020 there's Rob doing DeFi education. We kind of started in Ethereum and have now kind of broadened our scope to modular blockchains, Cosmos, and kind of what is building the best tech. We do a lot of podcasts, written content, and a lot of really good alpha across our newsletter. So check out the links below. But let's just jump right in, have some fun, and what's going on, Rob?
Did you guys see that intro video? Yo, what a banger!
Oh, that was a bit of a shameless inter-protocol plug, but I love the video. It's so good. When I saw that, I told them, like, guys, I need this. You need to send this to me.
Dude,
Schizo, Christmas, Cosmos vibes.
We're in the holiday spirit. This is the season.
That's true. We also got the Banter fam. So also shout out to everyone from the Banter fam. I was on there twice now, and 7,000 people started following this channel over the past week. So welcome everyone from the Banter fam. But yeah, we got, I already see, we have Carol backstage. We have a red-eyed bear backstage. Celestia is in the house. David from Babylon. So I think we're going to start getting people on stage. Honestly, I don't know how this is gonna play out because we have so many people that are joining. But yeah, let's maybe start. Kaiser Carol, he was the first one backstage. So what's up, my man? How are you doing?
Yeah, doing very good, guys. Super excited, to be honest, to end the year on a banger for Cosmos. I'm like ultra excited to get kicking in the new year. I actually do think they were like at the cusp of the bull market.
So here, I think here's a good question for you to start with. How do you see Huawei versus Coq Inu versus Bonk versus With versus Anolos? What are your thoughts on this, Carol?
Yeah, I think it's really going to be about restaked meme coins, to be honest. And the first one that manages to capture that market is going to be the winner.
Restaked meme coin. That's going to be a hot narrative next year. I like that. Is
Carol,
anyone here aping into meme coins?
Just a little bit on not too many on Cosmos, but I do have a nice little bag of Huahaha, which is I saw Sonny tweeted some small one with like $100 of liquidity yesterday. I was like, oh my god, this is getting real degen real fast. Yeah, Carol, what are you most excited about 2024 on Cosmos? What are you bullish on?
Well, for me, it's obviously like Union's mainnet launch and seeing the first IBC to Ethereum connection go live, and then some of the other stuff that we've planned, as well as, to be honest, kind of seeing if Celestia is going to be like the hub and take over what the Atom hub was first. So I'm really excited for kind of the L2s launching and this explosion of new products.
We got Mary here. We can ask Mary straight away. Is Celestia gonna take over the hub?
I mean, I guess I have no comment there. I can't really predict like what next year will bring.
Have you guys like secretly in the back like plan to take over Atom?
Absolutely not. We're focused on just shipping and adoption.
Nice.
And airdrop season.
Things that Mary cannot comment
season.
on.
Yeah, no comment there.
Nice.
We also got David here. I'm also gonna bring Red-Eyed Bear. David, how are you, man? It's been quite some time since we last talked, but how is everything going on your side?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm glad to be back here at Cosmos. So in the past few months, I've submerged myself in fundraising, really fun stuff. But now I'm done, so I'm back.
I saw that. Yeah,
nice.
I think you raised and like you announced the raise like shortly before the whole market started pumping, right? And it was, I think, $18 million. And for those that don't know, David is the founder of Babylon Chain, the project that's going to bring Bitcoin security and enabling Bitcoin staking, which I think is a crazy idea. But yeah, that's going to come also next year, right? What's the timeline, David?
Yeah, I just love the name of this Bitcoin staking, right? It's so paradoxical, Bitcoin staking is like crazy. So we're super excited to build this thing out to show to the world that indeed it can happen. And so we'll launch our testnet in the middle of January, working hard to make sure that everything goes smoothly. We have the top validators running the testnet, so we're very excited. Everybody wants to be helping us out, complete the mission of Bitcoin staking, and if things go smoothly, we'll hope to do a mainnet launch sometime next year.
Nice.
Hell yeah, brother. That's awesome.
Is there any mining companies that are going to stake?
Yeah. We have a lot of people who are already committed to help us out in launching the network and putting some TVL in. Yeah. So some miners and whales, Bitcoin whales, and but our main goal is to attract a lot of retail as well. So we're integrating with a lot of wallets to try to bring a lot of retail TVL in.
Nice, man. Cool. Coming back to Carol and Mary as they're kind of the first ones on this panel. Curious for each of you guys, perhaps some reflections on 2023 Cosmos. Come on, let's get spicy, Mary and Carol. I know you guys both have it in you. Some reflections and perhaps at least some outlook with whatever you can share for our lovely community with some alpha. Would love to hear from you, Carol, and then we'll go to Mary.
Yeah, well, reflection-wise, so Union kind of did the race in the summer, and we were betting heavily on IBC and a lot of Cosmos Tech. That got us some flack from different VCs, and they definitely thought that this wouldn't be going anywhere. I think then we had the same network launch, we didn't go too well, right? So at some point it was looking like quite grim. But at least for me, like I'm very happy that we at Union made that bet and went all in on the tech stack in the community. And I think now that's playing out very well. So for me, like I'm really ending the year like feeling great and kind of doing an "I told you so" to a lot of people I talked to last summer.
Nice. And then going forward, Union's going to is on testnet now, coming on to mainnet. What's the what's your thoughts? How optimistic are you?
Sorry, I think my connection broke up for a second.
Yeah, no worries. I was just asking about the plans for first half of 2024.
Yeah, so for us, tentatively going into audit around the 15th of January. So we're like really building out like the final 10% and getting real close to that. So focusing on that launch. And then the next products, I don't think I can leak anything about that yet. So need to be careful with some of the alpha there. But we've got some cool stuff besides new networks being supported, besides L2 support, some really cool extensions to IBC itself. And that's kind of what I'm most excited for next year. I think with Cosmos right now, we're like a really good position, but there's still a lot of liquidity fragmentation, kind of UX issues. And I think if we manage to solve that, then basically we take over this whole market of horizontal scalability. And we just enshrine it entirely and just corner that $1 trillion market or whatever.
So who's gonna launch mainnet first, Babylon or Union?
Ooh, that's a difficult call. I think for us right now, like our testnet, I think has been live a bit longer. But I think Babylon itself has got a nicer, like focused product with perhaps less dependencies. So a full package, so might be able to ship that earlier. We need to go through like a lot of testing of ZK components, consensus of different chains, etc. So we're doing some formal verification, some testing for that to make sure that the system itself is actually sound.
Okay, and then who of you two is going to do the bigger airdrop? I think that's the more important question.
and who's airdropping to Celestia stakers?
Yeah, I'm sure. I think I already dropped the alpha before, but Union is definitely doing an airdrop. I'm probably saying this now. My lawyer's going to message me immediately and say, take that back. Don't share anything yet. So
it's just us and 240 people. Don't worry.
Yeah. But they're definitely playing this. I think it worked out so well for building community, right? Like I think the season of doing proper airdrops is really coming back. Users aren't really dumping it, and they're really joining communities. So we're doing everything to do so.
Yeah, and I think Mary, if there is something that you're able to comment on, it's this. It's that the way that Celestia handled its airdrop was very wide. You know, it was a situation where I had multiple wallets and users have multiple wallets. But there's different people that help, one wallet or multiple wallets, and they didn't really get a lot of money compared to like some of like these other airdrops that we've seen in the past, like $40,000 Juno airdrop or something. But that kind of small amount but widespread strategy allows you to kind of get into the hands and minds of tons of users, and also they're kind of less incentivized to dump because, well, $500, $800, $1,000 versus like something like a $40,000 airdrop. It's a bit more of like let's kind of see where this goes. So I guess my question to you, Mary, is I'm just curious how you're thinking about the community development post, about a 6 weeks, 2 months after airdrop, kind of reflections on your strategy with launch, owning this modular word, and just how you doing?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a crazy year for the entire team. A lot of sleepless nights, I think, for the entire team. But I mean, we were focused on supporting as many developers as possible. And it's been awesome to just work with teams excited about Celestia. I like going through our dogs, testing out our dogs, running roll-ups. Like it's just been a crazy year. And next year We're hyper focused on a number of kind of larger announcements coming out in January. A number of teams announcing that they'll be building on Celestia, and then a kind of specialized hackathon strategy that we're all kind of like excited for. So next year will, I guess, like arguably be crazier for our team than this past year was. I don't know how spicy I can get. Celestia is kind of like a wholesome project.
Yeah, I mean, I also made a video recently here on this channel, which people can watch later, about like the Celestia ecosystem and airdrop season that's coming up. And it's not just about airdrops; it's also about like the bootstrapping of the whole ecosystem, right? So that's very cool. Yeah, but we have to rotate, unfortunately. So Kaiser and Mary, thanks a lot for jumping on. We're gonna get the next people up here. We also have
Next people. Can I do a shout out for Celestia from a researcher point of view? So I started doing research in blockchain for 5 years ago, right? So one of the first paper I've read is the Mustava's paper on data availability. Is so great to see after 5 years, finally, the actual net is large. Amazing.
You know he hacked the CIA, David?
Yeah, well, let's not talk in this a public situation here.
A lot of people have been discussing that publicly, and maybe he doesn't want that. Maybe.
All right, we're just gonna skip that part and move on over. We haven't heard from Red Eyed Bear yet, GM sir.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. How are
Awesome.
you?
Thanks for inviting me. This is the first time I've gotten to be on one of the Cedo YouTube's or streams. So excited to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I think I did 1 or 2 interviews with Carter, so people should be familiar with what you guys are building at Shade. But yeah, what's like from your point of view? Obviously, the bear market was super harsh. The whole like crypto markets were kind of drying out, but you guys are still there. You're standing. You even grew, and I think you have probably one of the most underrated ecosystems within Cosmos, but maybe within crypto. So how was the whole year for you guys, and what's kind of your roadmap for 2024?
Yeah, I appreciate the questions. This has been a incredibly busy year. We saw the launch of our full existing DeFi application suite. We're currently at the largest that suite has been thus far. So it's been really cool to see the continued growth of that. And, looking into 2024, we have 6 different applications that are 6 different full applications or utilities that are under development right now that'll start rolling out beginning of Q1 of 2024. We built a lot of great connections with other protocols in layer 1s within the Cosmos, being able to build or successfully work on integrations, build liquidity, to be able to help out both sets of protocols without spending large amounts of money. We saw our shift to 100% real yield based reward systems for the protocol, all of our stakers. And it's just been a really big learning curve in 2023.
Also see Silk is doing well. What's the market cap right now for Silk?
Should be somewhere around, I think, 3.5 million, 3.6 million or so. And so one of the things that we wanted to do with Silk was make sure that we did like a slower rollout, just because it's such a different type of stablecoin than your normal, USD peg stablecoin, over collateralized stablecoin. So
yeah,
doing a bit more of a conservative rollout, being conservative with our max LTVs, our allowance caps, and all that, as we make sure all the stability mechanisms, the peg mechanisms all work correctly. And we had some great stress tests in 2023 that gave us the insight that everything works as it's supposed to.
I want to get to the persistence family, but there's a question from Galatasaray CA. You need to talk about Andromeda. What's up with Andromeda?
Yeah, so we just did a Twitter space with Andromeda and Secret Network yesterday, Shade Protocol is collaborating with Andromeda for their first DEX listing. So ANDR is going to be available on ShadeSwap. I believe next, it's on the 28th, whatever day that is, next Thursday. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to partner with a team that we think are really, really cool. What they're building is really awesome with the Andromeda operating system and the Andromeda digital objects. And it's awesome that we're going to be able to help them, experience like privacy preserving price discovery for their tokens and be able to support them on ShadeSwap. They'll be the first team that's not a secret network native team that chose to launch their token, on a private DEX. So that's really cool from our perspective to see that interest kind of blooming outside the secret network.
Lovely. Awesome. Thank you. That's it. That's interesting. Privacy is really cool. And so glad to have people working on that and trying to pioneer that forward. Tushar's laughing for some reason. Tushar, what's funny, buddy? How you doing?
All good, man. I was laughing at what you said in terms of privacy being cool. I mean, it is.
It is
the
cool.
way you said it.
I mean, most people sleep on it.
What's wrong with privacy, Tushar?
I don't think he was saying privacy wasn't cool. I think he said the way you said it wasn't cool. I think that was really
privacy is cool.
was interesting how you said it. I think that's what I was smiling at.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you. I believe it's the first time we're meeting face to face.
Yeah, cheers. So liquid staking came to Cosmos in 2023, about 8 years behind Ethereum. I mean, sorry, what? What's the? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the development? And what can we expect in 2024?
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting point that you bring up. Actually, we built liquid staking for Atom. It was not the most ideal solution in late 2021. A high level from our perspective, this was we started building that solution pre-IBC going live, and so we had this very clunky product where STK Atom would actually, which is the liquid staked Atom, would actually get issued as an ERC20 coin, which is obviously not ideal. I mean, we started building that before there was any DEX in the Cosmos ecosystem, so this is pre-osmosis, pre-IBC. Of course, we had to, bring about changes with, osmosis launching and IBC launching, and it took us a while. We wanted to launch it in 2022, but launched in early 2023. But hey, I think the entire ethos and philosophy of Cosmos is going up into the right, but a little bit slowly, right? And I think that's the good thing about Cosmos, where we've been early Cosmos community members. We took part in Game of Stakes, Game of Zones. We started building during the COVID crash where we couldn't raise capital, and we essentially bootstrapped the entire company by just running validator nodes on a bunch of Cosmos networks. So that was an early way to launch. We did some interesting things around. Today, everyone does airdrops. We were one of the first projects to do a stake drop campaign where stakers of certain assets within the Cosmos ecosystem, including Atom and Kava, which was pretty big at that time, would receive targeted airdrops of the persistence coin. And back in 2020, we had more than $1 billion of staked assets participating in that airdrop. Today, of course, it's a very sort of acceptable or the normal way to launch. But again, from our perspective, we've kind of tinkered around staking, stake drops, liquid staking, just validating in general, during Game of Stakes, Game of Zones, during the launch of the Cosmos Hub, but also during the launch of IBC back in the day. So again, not to go down memory lane, but it's been interesting for us to see how things have evolved. And of course, from our perspective, we try to prioritize security over everything else. We try to prioritize security over growth, over traction, TVL. I think for us, the most important thing, this is, if this is a bull market, it's my third. The main objective for us is to not blow up, and to continue to build over a long period of time and kind of just stay in the game. As Warren Buffett says, you can only play the game if if you're in the game. So, having seen a lot of people in the industry and, also we've seen Terra blow up. For us, the main goal at Persistence is, we want to keep building. We want to build over a long period of time. We want to build in a secure way. Of course, we want traction and TVL and all those things, which we're working very hard towards. But we'd rather, to answer your question about, launching in 2023 and launching it 8 years after Ethereum.
No, I was just messing around.
I know. Just
You guys are OGs, but when Stake Tia, the Cosmos ecosystem is itching for Stake Tia and Stake dYdX.
Yeah, so Jeroen, who's the director of product and has been with the company now for about 2 years, and has looked at different parts of the stack. He can go into more detail about this, but we have a few dependencies to launch STK Tia in terms of Celestia itself having interchain accounts. Jeroen, if you wanna go into that, it's the same for dYdX. So we have a couple of those dependencies with respect to dYdX and Tia, but I think before that, we're going to launch STK XPRT itself. Jeroen, if you want to take over.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you briefly mentioned it, but so in order to launch the product as we have built it, like using ICA, we need ICA to be enabled on these chains. From dYdX, I know they will enable it relatively soon, and like we have been preparing for this. Like actually, we have a version of STK dYdX on our internal testnet, and we're actually ready to launch almost. I think the day they actually enable ICA, we should be ready to launch, which is super exciting. So on the dYdX side. But of course, again, like want to do it the right way and don't want to rush into launch. Like even if it means we're not the first, it's totally fine. Like we want to be the most secure and start from there. And then on the Celestia side, I think things are slightly different. I know there has, I think Milky Way launched this week or last week, slightly different version of the product, actually very similar to the product we had on the STK Atom side, was using a multi-sig bridge. We looked at that like as a solution, like because we actually don't know whether Celestia will enable ICA. Currently, it seems like they won't be enabling ICA. And for us, for now, like I think since we also like prioritize security over everything, we don't really want to build out a solution that is similar to this, using a bridge, using a multi-sig, because we think it's in a way kind of going back in time when it comes to liquid staking. And if there's anything that we are kind of persistent towards is kind of making progress on a daily basis. And for us, this would be a step back. So we'd rather wait until there's enough support from the community within Celestia, and that's of course something we'll be working towards to get that community support to enable ICA, because I do think it has plenty of benefits to actually have ICA on the chain. But yeah, that's slightly later into the year. And then from our side, of course, like STK XPRT is a big one. A lot of our community have been asking and waiting for this, and there as well, like we had to take a lot of thinking and kind of preparatory work for that, which we started actually early this year already when it came to bringing the LSM to the chain. I think we were actually the first chain to launch the liquid staking module that was developed by Exclusion. And then eventually, like it also came to the Cosmos Hub, but we were actually the first to launch. And then with that, we really got to know this liquid staking module, which is for us a critical component of the STK XPRT, because you'll be able to actually liquid stake your XPRT when you already have staked assets, similar as how you can do it on the Cosmos Hub momentarily. Like at the moment with Atom, if you have staked Atom, you can convert that into a liquid staking position. So yeah, those are, I mean, some of the exciting stuff that we are working towards. I think in the liquid staking space, of course, also with the Dexter on the Persistence chain, trying to push towards more liquidity for these liquid staked assets. Really, still believing heavily in the fact that liquid staked assets over time will kind of become the default assets of this proof of stake economy. And I think we're still early in that. And I do think eventually capital efficiency kind of has a way to play out. It like by itself, it's just economy in a way. So yeah, true believers in that, and very excited for what's coming up in 2024. And I guess plenty of partnerships to kind of really continue to progress in that direction.
Yeah, and one thing to you guys mentioned alpha. I think one of the things that we're working on, and I think it's, we've kind of hinted towards that, but not explicitly talked about it as much. But essentially what we want to do is create a one-click solution to go, from the liquid stake, from, either directly from XPRT to the liquid staked XPRT version, and then also LP into the STK XPRT pool and LP that. So creating, sort of a one-click solution that, allows you to go from, let's say the native asset into an LP'd position on a DEX.
So we actually, just to round up here, we actually call that superfluid LP. I think it's a new term, slightly inspired by superfluid staking, which I think everyone is kind of familiar with. But so superfluid staking on Osmosis is typically you LP first, and then you actually in the background stake the assets that are used to LP. With superfluid LP, you're actually you have a staked assets and you then LP it straight away in the background. So that's coming out early Jan, currently under audits. Should be bringing that to you guys soon.
Guys, we have to rotate. Thanks for all the insights. David and Red Eyed Bear, I want to give you one kind of, what's your main thing you look forward to 2024, and in the meantime I bring on the next speakers.
So very quickly. So we love to work in the Cosmos ecosystem. So we have right now 40 chains integrated on our time stamping testnet for fast unbonding. So our goal for the next few months is to integrate all these 40 chains on our Bitcoin staking testnet. And we are hoping to bring Bitcoin staking to Cosmos and help to improve the security of Cosmos and have more Bitcoin alignment. Bitcoin is really getting hot, so I think there should be a very strong alignment play between Cosmos and Bitcoin, and we hope to facilitate that through our staking protocol.
Appreciate it. Thanks, David. Always good to see you. Red Eye Bear, what's your biggest thing you look forward to in 2024 with Shade?
Biggest things is going to be, well, this is a hard one. It's kind of multiple. We're going to be launching DAO cross-chain integration, so we'll be able to utilize DAO's smart contracts for, for token governance and for creation of sub-DAOs. We're going to have a private money market that's coming out early Q1. We're also going to be putting out liquidity order book, which is a Trader Joe style liquidity book that should be coming out Q2. We're going to be working with integrating with different crypto debit cards to make sure that people can spend Silk, this private over collateralized stablecoin, in the real world. Some of the debit card companies that we're working with now are going to be primarily supporting European users. So for any Europeans out there, Q1, you'll be able to spend Silk, private spending with your stablecoins, which is super cool. And then looking for continued improvement of privacy for secret smart contracts by Secret Labs, the development team behind Secret Network, continuing to harden the privacy. And then something kind of tangential to what we're doing. I'm really excited to see the stuff that Time Wave is working on at Neutron with covenants and what that's going to unlock for cross-chain liquidity deals across the Cosmos. I think that's going to be really, really cool thing to look forward to. But I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak here.
Yeah,
sick hair.
Greetings to Carter and
appreciate it.
We'll talk. We got Anthony. You've been on for a bit. I think you came a bit early.
Yeah,
but,
I absolutely messed up the timing on this. And
no worries,
it's been
man.
way too awkward to leave, and I have no idea what to do now. So
yeah,
here we
just
are.
vibe, brother.
So I'm just vibing. I'm like, we got some shit we got to do, so we're just here.
We'll
You
get
could
you up
maybe-
around next.
You could totally move me to the background. I'm like,
No. I was gonna say you could maybe introduce yourself. Well, I also got a wild Gregor Zuri right now. I think
We
feeding
got
himself.
Sencom here as well.
But maybe you can introduce yourselves, and then we'll also get to Sen. We'll get to Eric. He's also just joined us. But yeah, we haven't met before, Anthony. What's up? How are you?
oh, hey, yeah. What's going on? My name's Anthony. I sometimes go by the name Burnt Banksy. That comes from me buying a Banksy and obviously kind of burning it. We're building XION right now. Cosmos chain focused on retail adoption and UX on the protocol level.
Why do you
Nice.
burn the Banksy?
With the PR answer or the real answer?
Greg. Now we will come back to that one, Anthony, on the next panel. We're gonna jump over to the to White Whale and Greg. So we'll jump over to Sencom, just trying to stay on track here. Sencom GM, sir, have not met you either. Nice to meet you and welcome.
Nice to meet you, Andy. Thanks for the invitation. Also, hi, Cryptocito. How are you guys doing?
Hello, what's up?
Great.
Not as
How's
great
it
as Greg
going?
with his dog.
Yeah, man, the dog, that's a pretty impressive flex, Greg. You know.
Yeah, Greg just
Thank
came
you.
to
This
steal
is
the
my
show.
firstborn.
So Sencom, what are you most excited about for 2024 with White Whale? How are you going to take the Cosmos ecosystem and just shake it all up and make it very, very White Whale dominated?
Well, that's a loaded question. I like it. So what's really cool about White Whale is it's not just one team and one token. It's almost a joint venture of half a dozen teams. And what we do is build cross-chain applications. And I think that's a pretty cool thing, that you're not having like 20,000 different DEXs on 20,000 different chains, but you have a liquidity layer across the cosmos. And same for NFTs, for liquid staking, for games. And I think that's going to rock.
How come you guys are the first ones to list Puppy and all that? Are you guys from the same half a dozen teams that are building Huawei and all the others?
Yeah, we're live on Chihuahua, and in fact, this joint venture pretty much owns 80-90% of all applications on Chihuahua. So naturally, since White Whale is the only DEX there, Puppy was listed there for half a year, but then the meme coin craze came and it took off.
So we should call you basically when we ask you why it's dumping, and why it's going to be pumping
Yeah,
too, right?
exactly. Why aren't you market making this better?
But there was just yesterday, there was an airdrop on Migaloo. I think it dropped $2,000 worth of Guppy. And Guppy.
Wait, hold up. I need to check that.
Yeah, that's what Sonny was tweeting from Osmosis.
Yeah, not financial advice.
It was airdrop to where?
On Migaloo. That's the chain White Whale has built.
Gotcha.
And was it airdrop to whale stakers or?
Sorry?
Was it for whale stakers or?
Oh no, there were missions. Like there were 10 different missions, and if you completed them, you got some. So I think one of the most easiest mission was hold 25 whale, which is like $1. So everybody got a piece of the pie. And I think just completing that mission got you an airdrop of I think $200 or $300. So whale stakers and whale holders have been eating steak yesterday.
And lobsters.
I see Carol is still in there. I hope Carol is listening to this and taking notes.
Taking notes for all the TIA stakers.
Well, we also got Eric here. Eric, are you there?
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going?
What's up? How are you, man?
Good.
Congratulations on the all-time highs. Every day I'm looking at the charts, like, what's going on? $42.
Just trying to make sure like everyone's node infrastructure is working and the RPC endpoints are not having delays.
Are you guys getting inscription attacks?
Oh yeah. There was that yesterday. But like every day there's something new. Every hour there's something new.
Well, I appreciate you giving us the time to getting on today and let us know. So it sounds like you guys are busy over there. So like the whole last year, what have you guys been doing? Because like who you been talking to pump the price all the way to 42?
Yeah. So I'm taking very good care of Ginger right now. And also I think like right now there's been a lot of exciting launches. A lot of products are building on top of Injective kind of bumped up their launch date. A couple of them even like changed up their roadmap a little bit, accelerated their plan. So we've been trying to juggle like all these very, very, very awesome excitements. And certainly, especially as it's getting closer and closer to holiday season, or actually it's only 3 days away. Basically, like there's just been a lot of work that we need to do to make sure that before everyone goes out for like a mandatory holiday, we accomplished quite a few things in terms of like expanding the infrastructure, expanding like a lot of RPC endpoints to accommodate for like like the slight change in like user activity in the ongoing sessions.
Hell yeah, Eric. Well, hey, stay on for a couple of minutes. We're gonna jump over to Greg to make sure that he can get his time on this panel, and then we'll come back to you and Anthony from the last one. Speaking of token prices that look nice, Greg, welcome from Akash. Nice to meet you as well. And yeah, man, GM.
Good to meet you as well. Great to be here. I come on the show every year once, I think. So kicking off the year with a C2 show is always good.
I think you've been, we did this, I think, starting 2021. I think you were one of the first people that I met in Cosmos and kind of in my journey. It's been wild, man. How do you see like the past years? You've obviously been one of the earliest Cosmos adopters, and how is the ecosystem development going for you? What do you think is in stock for us 2024?
So 2023 has been a game changer for Akash, right? So, I mean, obviously the big thing that came out was GPUs. It's been in our white paper since 2018. So we're finally able to ship now. But I think overall, it's also a proof point for the app chain thesis. Akash is fastest growing DePIN network in terms of daily usage fees. It's the first non-finance, non-NFT use case in Cosmos, and it's solving a non-crypto problem, which is a nice thing, right? So, I think 2023 was the proof point from a product market fit for us, and 24 is distribution. And Akash being a primarily used by machine learning now, right? Most revenue is coming from there. We're obviously looking at distribution in the machine learning, both with providers as well as tenants. Tenants, lots of integrations, can't disclose what they are, but these are companies that are on front page of Hacker News almost on a weekly basis with their content, right? So that's our target market, about 40 million developers. And surprisingly, our close rate has been around 96%. With people that come, land, and use Akash. So, and this is coming from no coiners. People have never used crypto before, or maybe use crypto only to buy and sell stuff, but not actually utilizing. And people are always like surprised as to how well it works once you have crypto, right? It's the big challenge is like crossing the chasm to getting AKT and getting productive. But distribution, a lot of distribution, right? So we got some, I think we have like integration every month for the next 6 months coming up from next year. And we only make announcements post-integration, not pre-integration.
Greg, I happen to be wearing my WorldCoin shirt today, which is also targeting a lot of no coiners. When integration?
I have a problem with WorldCoin being closed source in certain modules. I want to look at the code before I can have an opinion.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Wait, Greg, are you classified in the DPIN category?
We're the category creators. If you look at the DPIN, first article ever written about DPIN was about Akash by Sammy. So us along with Helium and a bunch of others, I think, were category creators.
Pretty hot right now, huh? Vertical.
I hated the name when Sammy came. I suggested something else, but I guess he stuck with it. And I kind of rolled with it after. I still hate the name, but it is what it is. We got, I don't know, luck is timing, meeting, opportunity, right? So I guess.
I think you guys also fit into this AI category, obviously, and also I think Cosmos itself is going to be a narrative, right? I think a lot of content creators, they're like putting Cosmos as kind of their narrative for 2024 and seek to get exposure, right? And I think there's a lot of opportunities that also like cross over with the hot new narratives or DePIN or AI. So
all these narratives started forming like 2023. So we have DePIN, which is going mainstream, like a lot of reports from Grayscale and Coinbases and all these, 2024 outlooks. I think Credit Suisse, a bunch of banks and whatnot, all talked about DeepIn as this potential narrative. It makes sense, right? Because if Bitcoin is going mainstream with ETFs and they're selling crypto to traditional pension funds, and they want something with fundamentals that's easy to track, right? So if you try to explain squiggles or bong to a pension fund, you might find it a little bit challenging to convince them to take a position. But if you go and sell them, like, look, there's a demand supply imbalance in GPUs, and there is this protocol that's actually making money and growing at a rate that's easily verifiable on chain. It's an easy sell. So I think DeepIn will be a major selling point for a lot of these traditional funds, because when pension funds are trying to take exposure, they're looking for something more real, right? And that's the promise of crypto. Crypto is to disrupt traditional industries.
Yeah,
So I
Greg,
think that's going to fly really well in 24. I think from AI, obviously, AI is the news creator, right? So there's almost every month something new about AI that's coming. So it's grabbing a lot of attention. And when you looked at the last year Saga, this year OpenAI Saga, the biggest gainers from a crypto standpoint was Akash, right? So you can see the pattern where you're grabbing a lot of attention because AI is grabbing a lot of mainstream. So there's that. And from a crypto digest, I think Cosmos is doing really well. So you got the Cosmos narrative, Akash being the first IBC chain. I don't know how many people remember. And Akash was one of the first blockchains to launch on Cosmos, right? So we started working with Jay Quan in 2017, 2018 timeframe. First, we implemented Tendermint because that was the only library available with Golang that could easily let us spin layer ones, because we tried with Ethereum before in 2016, failed miserably when they launched CryptoKitties. So we made that choice in 2017, and Tendermint, we started building a lot on Tendermint. A lot of modules were built by us, right? Staking and whatnot. And then we scrapped it and we merged the code to SDK. So we have a long history with Cosmos. So all these three, I guess, quote unquote narratives are starting to work. But besides the narrative, it's just adoption, right? Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Look at the charts.
The narrative is there. It's just what gets the hype on Twitter. It's the actual use case, right, that you're building towards.
And the usage and the numbers, on-chain numbers, which are way more important than the narratives. I think you need both, right? You need growth, you need a conversation point. So yeah, things are working out.
Thanks for coming on, Greg.
Actually, I got a question, Greg. You made a tweet like, I don't know, a couple months ago, something about you guys at Akash. When do we think that you would get to $10,000 in fees or something on Akash? Or
yeah, it's a question to the community.
Yeah.
Where do we think? I don't know. Well, at 5,000, daily fees, we will be the highest revenue generating DeepIn protocol in history.
Yeah.
So not very far from there. We're only halfway there, right? Like, unincentivized too, and that's the best part. There are no behavior incentives. Highest right now is Filecoin with incentives. So Filecoin will pay you for storing data, right? So Akash without incentive, if it generates highest revenue in history, I think that's a very good milestone for us. And now we're unlocking incentives. When I said distribution, we haven't incentivized, like you see in Osmosis where you have LP incentives, right? If you provide liquidity, you get a bunch of tokens. It's a very common pattern across DeFi. We're similarly, it's a very common pattern in DeepIn as well. I mean, Helium incentivized network, and Filecoin and whatnot. A common pattern tends to be incentivizing pre-product market fit to get to PMF, and we're doing post-product market fit to unlock growth. So from a budgetary standpoint, we have about close to $400 million in unminted AKT that most of it is reserved for incentives. So we're literally going to flood the market with cheap A100s, right? We're targeting $80 cents an hour, which is the lowest you can get for an A100. by incentivizing providers. Of course, these are short-term incentives, but at least you'll short enough to spend like $400 million, I suppose, right? And as the market keeps performing, that's only going to be a bigger war chest for Akash community. So we believe through this, you'll be able to right now our utilization is about 50%, but for high density chips like A100s, it's about 95%. So obviously, like, people want these chips. It's not a secret fact, right? It's a well-known fact. So how do we get more A100s on the network is what these incentives will be used for. And while doing so, we got to ensure there is distribution on the demand side, because incentives without optimized demand pipeline means wastage, like helium. I mean, I love helium, not talking shit, but it's a very difficult problem they're trying to solve. It's very challenging to solve demand, right? But for them, you really can't have product market fit without a network, right? So helium is in a very special case, but what the lesson we can derive from helium is if you do not have a consistent demand generator, regardless of how much supply you can provide, the network is not going to see the utilization, right? So that's the thesis, and we're doing the opposite, and we're super excited about it. And I mean, 45% utilization in the closest GPU market that's live, that's not open source or not decentralized in any degree, has about 0.8% utilization. So just to give you comparison.
Yo, we have to rotate. Greg, thank you so much for all the insights. I'm going to get the next wave of speakers up. But yes, Sen, I want to ask you, like, 2024, what is kind of your big focus? What are your big goals with White Whale for 2024?
That's three-sided. On the one hand, we're the core team of the Megaloot chain, so expanding and growing the ecosystem. On the other hand, one of our focus will be growing our partners. We're building cross-chain applications on some protocols are live on almost 20 different chains. So we're going to grow that. I think right now the joint venture is securing over 40 million in TVL. And lastly, we're going to build out the second iteration of the White Whale protocol, which will aim to unlock this unified liquidity vision that was initially outlined in the white paper.
Nice. I have not used White Whale yet, just to be honest, but I'm going to be using White Whale after today, because you're a chiller, and White Whale just sounds dope, and the product actually is pretty cool. So thanks for coming out, man.
And
thank you, Andy.
Jesus, I like it. But
right,
cheers, man. We'll see you around. We got more people up here. Eric is obviously already here. We got Anthony back up now. Anthony, maybe it's good now for a proper introduction.
We did it. I'm doing good, man. What about you?
It's good.
Awesome. Cool.
So,
yeah.
I think we want to know about the burnt. Like, what was the answer for that one?
All right. Yeah. Right. Don't we like the suspense? That was like 30 minutes of suspense. That was keeps the people going.
Get to it. We'll know.
All right. So the story behind that is, this. I mean, so you have to put it back in time perspective, right? This is 2021. NFTs were just not what they were today. This was even before like the Beeple auction and everything like that. And funny enough, me and a buddy from college, his name was Eric Chen, quite similar to the guy above me right now on the panel. But we were obviously like pretty early into the crypto scene, and had a lot of NFTs back in the day. Me specifically always got made fun of by my family, which was like, if it's not in my living room, I can't touch it. There's what the hell. Why the hell are you spending money on this stupid art and JPEGs? And so bought something that had value to it, right? Sold in the Sotheby's auction. Banksy's a pretty famous artist. Lit it on fire, got it professionally photographed by Vice and the live stream by Vice News, turned it into an NFT, sold it for 4x the price that we bought it for, and then kind of really kicked off what you see today. And then also it was just fun, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, real quick, has that inspired the name Burnt? And could you
Directly,
give us
yes.
the elevator pitch of what Burnt is?
Yeah, it was. So it's funny. There's definitely history behind it, and like a lot of, I don't want to say poor decisions, but a lot of unfortunate decisions, like my name being Burnt Banksy, and then the company being named Burnt, and then everyone in the team picking like pseudo anonymous names like Burnt Fondue or Burnt Ash, and now I look like I'm just burnt. It just didn't work out with
What
the
is
name
Burnt?
very well. Yeah, right. So Burnt is it's funny. We started off as an NFT marketplace on Solana called Burnt Finance, and then we raised a big round and we acquired the name Burnt. So then we became Burnt. But what we kind of realized in that NFT marketplace, we had like 30,000 monthly active users. We built the first NFT standards for Solana. We built the first collection standards on Solana. We built a lot of like the early NFT stuff with some of the early Metaplex guys for Solana. But we were looking to do like collaborations with Afrojack and a bunch of kind of famous DJs. But it was really, really difficult for us to really onboard. And effectively, we had this Venn diagram of, people who knew Afrojack and then people who had a Phantom wallet and had done the entire steps and already knew everything about Solana and everything like that. And for what we were trying to do, which was like this continuation of this Burnt Banksy stuff of like anyone can be an NFT artist, anyone can kind of do this. The user onboarding was just miserable, right? And it still is today, and we can kind of talk about that. But a lot of what XION was built for was to continue doing what we were doing with the NFT marketplace, but kind of on a larger scale and needing to know that we needed to do it on an infrastructure level. So I say consumer adoption, but really what we came to the point was like a lot of kind of common consensus is done on a social level for something like account abstraction. And there's still a ton of barriers to the entry, which is like we use this term generalized abstraction as like an umbrella term of all the things we abstract, which is some like cute marketing way, quite frankly, to say that there's a lot of shit that needs to be solved for. Like people shouldn't need to know what gas fees are.
Or need to even pay gas fees, man.
I know, dude. Right, and everything, like we had pretty big news like 2 months ago with a pretty big Circle partnership and investment, which is like everything's denominated USDC, which means that everything can be priced in USD effectively. That's something that we're pretty excited about as it comes to like gas fees and then just mimicking a Web2 experience.
We got Sisla here, man. How are you? It's always good to see you or hear from you in this case. Oh, there we go.
Let's see.
Big man, what's up?
All going great. Glad to be here with everyone. First time meeting Andy, Robbie, and Anthony. Hello, everyone. And how are you guys? Cito and
so good, man. Yeah. How was the year for you? I guess you guys had a lot of stuff going on. Launch, Cosmoverse, Flixverse, or Flix Fest. What was kind of your personal highlight this year?
I should say the token launch with all of you in the live stream. The launch of StreamSwap, the token itself being much awaited for. But also after that, I think the aspects around Cosmoverse and OmniFlix TV, those were pretty interesting ones, and I should say have been the highlights. Primarily because if StreamSwap is one side of contribution, we've always been planning for the media infrastructure, and with Cosmos 23, we released a prototype of what is the AdX, booking of advertisements right within the live stream. Right, that went very well. I should say, thank you for all the support and making sure that everyone were aware of it in time. And of course, Flix TV, OmniFlix TV launch with now over 40 communities and 300 plus videos, interactive videos that are live. First in Web3. So that is something that I should say have been the highlights. StreamSwap, the media part, and of course all that we did with the token.
Awesome, man.
Sisla and his team is one of the hardest working cosmonauts, for the past 4 years working on Cosmos and everything in Cosmos. And even if it doesn't have to do with OmniFlix specifically, he's there to even help. So it's crazy. Honestly, big props to you guys.
Yeah, and we're pretty excited for 2024 as well. 2024 Cosmos. This time I think we'll have the media node infrastructure ready. So Cosmos live stream will happen most likely in a decentralized or in a POA manner with decentralized media infrastructure, I should say. And all these years, though it used the OmniFlix tech, it wasn't like decentralized. So that is one. The coordination of or introduction of smart contract based publishing, media DAOs, that is something that we're very focused on. Yeah.
I want to ask, because we have 300 people listening, and I'm sure they're taking notes here. They're taking notes, and they want to hear from you guys, from the builders, from the projects, which narrative is going to be big next year, and which category does that project fit into, right? So what would you say? What kind of vertical or category does OmniFlix fit into?
Oh, I should say I'm not too sure from a specific category standpoint. Like as Greg said earlier, it's like 2-3 categories. A category that isn't like fully existing in its own sense is decentralized media. Of course, I know that NFTs are there. That is the tech behind whatever media infrastructure that can be built. But decentralized media is something that we are focused on, and very specifically that the infrastructure for that. So we've added like 1,000 assets. We started to manage 1,000 more movies in 2023, but that's all in the Web2 world, right? It did not translate yet into Web3. So we are managing the IP for 1,000 more movies. So now that brings the count to 9,000 movies overall in the Web2 world. So in the Web3 world, we see that translating with this infrastructure, with privacy for sure. And 2023 like did something extremely insane for for Cosmos, right? Like all the Optimism rollups, all the Polygon CDK app chains, all of those like blew up in some sense, and all of the major Cosmos app chains got that recognition. So I personally think that the app chain plus IBC thesis, and the funny part is there was someone that we introduced Cosmos. Wherever we go, we represent Cosmos. Not OmniFlix, or it's not like one project, right? So during one ETH India event, we introduced someone to Cosmos. Not introduced, they already knew. But after 20 days, when we were talking again just a few days ago, the thing was that the words they used were, whatever you say, bro, like Cosmos has the best bridging technology. They didn't use IBC. They did not use the word app chain. They didn't care about sovereignty. But all they cared about was them moving funds from one chain to another. And they felt that, IBC has, the best user experience. Of course, maybe we're not able to capitalize on it as much as we could have as an ecosystem. But at the same time, that is like spectacular. And this is coming from people that are heavily like degening into Arbitrum, like some of those, L2s as well, and bridging tokens, right? So, I see that playing quite a lot, along with, of course, like Greg said, decentralized P2P infrastructure, deepen infra, and the privacy aspect. So, very excited for what, Shade, Secret, Amada, all of these guys are working on as well to bring privacy.
Nice. Dude, yeah, you make a really good point with regards to the modular, I call it modular blockchains. Basically, there's the CDK stacks, Arbitrum, and the non-Cosmos stacks using Celestia. First of all, is huge for Cosmos because it brings that entire validator Celestia chain into that stack. And then the other one is just the presence of more of these interoperability layers too. And I kind of want to ping this one to Eric as well and ask the same question that Cito asked. Like, Eric, what is kind of the vertical or the narrative for Injective going into 2024? Are you guys incubating different dApps within the chain that you guys are running at Injective? What's kind of the expansion plans? Where do you guys fit?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of very, very exciting narratives that are planning to see during 2023, and I think it'll be in like full swing mode in 2024 with RWA and with a lot of institutional adoptions. That's going to be playing like a very, very major role within 2024, and especially with the ETF approval. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Then there's going to be a lot more attention from the traditional financial institutions that are trying to join in, that are trying to find platforms that fits within their compliance framework, etc. So the upcoming mainnet upgrade is kind of built to primarily address that. It's to be institution ready, to have this infrastructure right off the box for them to integrate with. And then on top of that, a couple dozen projects are currently building to service exactly that type of demographic. That would be like a primary trend that we're seeing right now. Is for the first time, there's no kind of like a iron curtain between the crypto realm and TradFi realm. You're going to see more and more of these linkages and assets on chain that are becoming more and more real, and basically create and unlock massive value within the space.
Super based. Yeah, with the DePIN narrative, the hardware is becoming more real, and then there's also like just real world assets that are coming on chain as well, whether they're like paper derivatives or treasury bills. Like those are real assets that already have product market fit in finance. And now we're like exploring like real hardware, like physical infrastructure, which is super, super cool. Yeah, thanks, Eric.
Eric,
we have another one too.
We have to get into the next. The lineup is crazy. I have.
Yo, Cito, I just got one last one for Eric. 2 minutes. Eric,
right.
I've been seeing a lot of chatter on Twitter about Injective has low TVL, not a lot of incubated apps. Why is it in the top 25? How do we answer this? Like why is it in the top 25? What is this FUD? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. Like TVL is definitely one of those metrics that are almost like counterproductive to our infrastructure, which is like the TVL isn't counted until you post an order on top of the order book. It's not because you deposit onto like a certain exchange application, etc. So really like the TVL figure for Helix, for example, it's all the existing margined orders that are being posted on top of the book, which only shows within like usually like within a 5 or 10% range. So that's kind of like a concentrated liquidity type of component, which doesn't put them into passive. And then on the other hand, I think a lot of projects are onboarded. For example, Black Panther has a few million, Astroport has a few million, this and that, and then a couple of new projects also has a couple dozen million. I don't think like they're like fully tracked right now, so there's also that slight discrepancy. But for Injective's case, it's meant to be high performant and capital efficient, and more importantly, to support like a very, very high flow of capital rather than being decided liquidity. And I also think that one of the largest TVL contributor for like people deploying and earning yield on top of idle assets is probably lending. And currently there are a couple of lending protocols that are about to be deployed, but not yet. And I think that is probably going to cement and solidify the amount of TVL there is, quote unquote, within the ecosystem.
I've always thought TVL was kind of more of a vanity metric as well after 2020, but the people want to know, where is all this whale buying power coming from? But thank you for coming on, and Cito, take us away.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Thanks, Eric. Always good to have you on. Sizzler, thank you so much. Love your energy. We also had Anthony. Yeah, thanks for joining. We'll definitely stay in touch.
Definitely.
Cheers, bro. Yeah, we have a wild.
How you guys doing?
We have a wild backstage. I see a wild Dian is in the backstage. We have dYdX is here. Axelar Network is here. Quasar is here. So yeah, let's go on. I think we still have 2 or 3 rounds to go. But this is fun. Dian.
Hello.
GM, I think it's early for you. It's early, isn't it?
For me.
Big man Dean. Big man Dean didn't want to show up a minute ago, huh? Yeah? It's too early for you, huh?
Oh.
Wow, there we go.
Merry Christmas, Dean.
Look at Valeo.
Valeo tuning in straight off the Elysee in Paris, or where are you at, man? You're mute.
Oh, you're on mute. But the lasers speak for themselves.
I don't even need to talk. I'm just gonna do this again.
Just came from the party.
I'm in Vienna. This feels very surreal, but yeah, nice to be here, guys. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Very good. We also got Charles in the house. dYdX. Hello. How are you?
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Nice.
Awesome to have you.
Yeah.
Sup, Charles?
Charles.
Okay, great. Happy to reach the end of 2023 and super excited and pumped for 2024.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's been obviously a very, very big year for you guys. The chain is now live since what, just like a bit over a month, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly,
how has that been for you? What's the current stage?
I mean, it's a big milestone, right? So many people have been working on this for months, and many of you have a chain already lively in their hands. But for the dYdX community, it's a new chain, which is, as you say, live for a month or so. So we already reached more than $3 billion of volumes. There is high competition and high activity on the validator, which is great. Stakers are being paid in USDC, which I think is quite a unique proposition for any staking or stakers or validators. So essentially, the application layer of the dYdX exchange is a profitable applications where users are paying USDC for their fees, and these fees are distributed directly to stakers. So a great activity on the validator side, great activity on the staker. It's still a transition between the Ethereum side of dYdX and the Cosmos side of dYdX. But so far, it's a very energetic start, and we're very happy about it.
What's your prediction? When is the V4 gonna take over V3?
That's a great question. It's very much depend on the volatility of the market, right? So I guess if we want to pick a metric on when it will pick up, it will be on the volumes, on daily volumes or weekly or monthly volume. And with a market kind of warming up right now, we might have a spike of activity. Should it be on BTC, Perps, or some others? So I would give it a good quarter more, probably 3 to 4 months. There is a reward kind of program, an incentive program, which is in place also with more than $20 million, which will be dripped to various kind of activity providers on the chain. But I think we need to give it some time. There is no rush, to be honest. It's more about like making sure everyone is comfortable, from the market makers to the long tail of retail users. There is also a lot of integrations in the making, which will eventually come to realization with additional custodians, additional exchanges, and wallets. So good start, no rush. We are a transition. I think it's important also to kind of highlight we are not expanding to a new chain. We are migrating, and that's probably also kind of a testament of the confidence dYdX has on the Cosmos ecosystem. dYdX as a community has decided to migrate to the dYdX chain built on the Cosmos SDK, and at some point in time, the Ethereum side of dYdX will eventually kind of sunset. So yeah, happy to be co-building, happy to see some activity with some of the chains. Osmosis, Nobles are the obvious ones, and maybe some others later on via some liquid staking conversations we see on the forums. So it's an exciting ecosystem and some exciting collaborations building up.
Are there currently collaborations between you three, like Agoric, Quasar, dYdX? Or can we just make that happen right now?
I can say that.
Have you been a good boy, Sito? I know you deserve a lot of gifts for this good year, but maybe we can do something for you. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we'll be meeting right after this just to put that coordination together. So
Yeah.
we can say
You got the calendar invite, right, Dean and Charles?
Yes,
you already have,
absolutely.
right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Sounds
I'll
good.
give you access to the
coming
shared
to your house.
I've got a Christmas hat also. I'm ready.
Oh,
It's
nice.
coming right to your door
Wow,
right now.
I'm actually
with
so
his red hat.
amazing.
Valeo, I've seen a vault on Quasar, a dYdX USDC vault, if I remember well. So it seems you're cooking something.
Yeah. We are super hyped that you guys came to Cosmos and built your own chain. I think, especially from the design on your side, obviously it's going to take a while, but we are kind of gunning for that Composable integration on the chain. I know, it's going to be a step-by-step process, but the next best thing we can do right now is obviously market-making vaults on Osmosis for the dYdX token. So, it's live. I think the cap is almost filled. It's just super exciting that kind of, we position ourselves as like a sticky way for people to deploy capital in CL, which is just so much more efficient than like full range AMM on Cosmos. We're doing this with other projects as well, but yeah, dYdX vault. I'm a depositor of it. Like, I'm very excited that I love what you guys are doing on Cosmos. So huge respect. And the Agoric side of things as well, considering collaborations. I don't know if Cito's reading my mind. I hope you don't. But Agoric team and us have talked in the past a couple of times and are still talking. But there's definitely, and the same goes for dYdX, by the way. But Behemoth dYdX, you guys have so many moving pieces that I don't want to tell people something's happening like soon. But definitely conversations happening on both fronts, and super excited for 2024, honestly.
The community is really interested in liquid staked dYdX token as collateral for IST. Once that's available, I of course want IST native on dYdX as a currency you can resolve into and just spend directly. I think that would be really awesome. And totally, Charles, we're totally meeting and talking about that. Absolutely.
Awesome. That's super cool to hear.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Sorry, go.
No, all good. I was just about to go on the liquid stake to staked assets. Like we are also kind of in this mental model when it comes to IST, for example, that once we have tradable vault shares, and the vault shares are auto compounding, and it's essentially a vault share of a liquid stake token to the same non-liquid stake token. That is kind of like the perfect asset to be collateral in various DeFi applications, such as maybe, for example, for minting IST, because it's single asset exposure while also stacking on staking rewards, while also staking on LP rewards, while also having it be tradable and composable as an asset. So this is definitely something that we are like super looking into in 2024. But yeah, exciting year ahead, honestly.
I agree with that. That's something that been actively looking at as well, as like this exotic collateral, if you will, LP yield generating in those two ways, and then being able to do that in the lending markets, which can offer that, is a super interesting vertical. So excited to see that. Dean, happy holidays, man. IST is like the golden saint of the Cosmos ecosystem this holiday season. I mean, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's been a lot. It's been a fun year. Yeah, no, I'm very happy. And we had a gathering for IST, and sort of I've been looking at all the what's happened this year and that sort of thing. Just yesterday morning, we had our we moved in summer to monthly releases to really build towards 2024. So yesterday we had our fourth or fifth month of that, and so our engineering is firing on all cylinders, getting updates out on a regular basis. We're connecting with various chains to provide collateral or IST for gas. We have NFT projects. Sisla was here earlier. We've been working with them and talking with them about sort of the next step in what you can build on Agoric, where we've got just a few days ago the first part of the Crabble NFT lending infrastructure went online, but the whole model of that I've been talking about this year of write a simple smart contract in JavaScript using a weight, using that executes over multiple turns and controls other chains. That's all starting to come together, and there's people that are building things using that. So we've been doing some stuff with Sisla to be able to to set up for remote control of NFTs, so you can write JavaScript to program stuff on chains like OmniFlix. And so it's just really exciting to see these pieces start to launch, start to deploy, start to come together.
Guys, we already have the next speakers backstage. I see Shane Stargaze just joined. We got Sergey there. As I'm rotating, final question to each of you, and please answer very, very shortly. What's your one thing, the most promising, most exciting, whether that's a development, a partnership, a launch, that you guys have for your projects in 2024? And maybe Charles, you want to start?
I'm excited about the end of Q1 with more than 100 markets to be listed. The end of Q2 is 200 markets to be listed, which will drive us to permissionless market on dYdX.
Nice. What about you, Quasar?
I'm excited for, I guess, the main aspect of an up-and-coming Quasar 1.0 paper, which is that we're going to aim for being IOTA, which means yield, origin, and destination agnostic. So the overall aspect being that, oh, Andy loving this. Yeah. I came up with in the shower, like a proper shower thought. I'm pretty proud of that myself as well. But it means fungible vault shares across the entire ecosystem and also vaults on multiple destinations across the entire ecosystem. So it's a completely, IBC abstracted away experience. That's what we're super excited about.
What about you, Lawrence?
Yeah, personally, I know Val's more excited about that stuff, but I'm like from the tech side really looking forward to IBC enabled cross-chain vaults. So like cross-chain ARPs continuously happening. You deposit and it just churns and churns over 4, 5, 6 chains. Aiming for somewhere 2024 to get it out.
Last but certainly not least, Deanie boy.
I think it's extending the narrative that they just touched on, which is that single abstract chain view where you can orchestrate the activity across lots of chains and across lots of contracts all at once. I don't care. I mean, I care about TVL on Agoric, but I really care about the reachable TVL where, the TVL on Quasar, on Crescent, on Osmosis, on Shadeswap, on, across over, Axelar onto Filecoins and Aves and everything else. All of that is uniformly accessible and uniformly available, and you can program it and you can orchestrate the activity on all those things. There's multiple, applications like Quasar. There's infra on our system where lots of people can build that sort of thing easily and orchestrate these cross-chain things easily. I think that's if modular was important this year, that kind of ability to do broad programmability across multiple chains is really enabling of the next generation of use cases, and I think that's going to be big next year.
Bullish Agoric, bullish Quasar, bullish dYdX. Thank you so much, guys. So we're gonna rotate. We have a wild Patrick here.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, man.
What's up, Patrick? How are you doing?
It's been great. I'm out for Christmas right now. I had to travel like 17-hour drive yesterday, so I'm in the mood. Yeah, wow. 1717. Had a dog in the car, whole 9 yards. But I'm happy to be here, though. We get to experience the end of year euphoric sensations of the Cosmos ecosystem talk. It's gonna be great.
Nice. Yeah, we also got Shane Stargaze, the baddest kid in Cosmos. How are you doing, man?
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm over in Miami right now. We had a event for Art Basel over here, so just decided to stay for a couple more days here and get some stuff done.
And then we also have Sergey. Man, how are you doing?
Hey guys, good to be here. How are you?
All good, yeah. I kind of, maybe we can talk a little bit about your personal highlights of the year as we're doing this recap. So I don't know, Shane, you want to start? What's been it's obviously been a tough, challenging year crypto-wise. I think towards the end now, last couple of weeks have been nice. We have seen a little bit of a relief. Everyone's making money again. Everyone's happy. The vibes are more chill. So yeah, how's the year been for you and what's been your personal highlight?
Yeah, this year, we focused more on just building in the bear, right? We were focused a lot on UI and UX, making the site a lot more usable, working like a lot on bridging, just making it really easy to come in from Ethereum, coming from Solana, coming from a centralized exchange, and now people are. It's actually happening, right? Like Badkiss has taken off. There are people from Ethereum that are really getting into it. And now I feel like the UX and UI is at a place where we're no longer embarrassed about it. Like when Stargaze was first launched, we were really embarrassed about the UI, and now people seem to like it a lot. And we're not stopping there. We're going to still keep making it better and better. So this year we didn't really build too many new protocols. We did launch live auctions. We launched Infinity Swap, which is kind of like a pseudo swap AMM type thing. But next year, we're going to focus a lot more on new protocols. And this year was more about building out the website, making it very usable. And I think we got there.
Yeah, I also saw a lot of Solana people are now getting onboarded through Bad Kids onto Stargaze. And I think you guys have been facilitating that also. And Yeah, what's like the process? Because we got more than 300 people actually listening right now. Like, if people want to get onboarded through BetKits into Cosmos, what's the process from anywhere?
It depends where they're coming from. Now, if you just go to Stargaze.zone, we have like a very easy onboarding flow. If you click on your wallet, you can easily, it shows if you want to swap from ETH to stars, if you want to swap, from Atom or Osmo. If you're coming from Solana, it's a little more cumbersome, but we're working on a connection to Wormhole, so that'll make it a lot easier. But yeah, if you just go to Stargaze.zone, like all the instructions are there. If you click on Get Stars, you have this like dialogue that shows all the different bridges. IBC. If you're coming from Ethereum, we have a connection with Squid that works with Axelar. So the onboarding flow, is getting better and better, but yeah, it's a lot easier to use now. There's also docs that have a bit more detail. If you go to docs.stargaze.zone, just like the first 4 pages show you, depending on where you're coming from, how to onboard. If you're coming from a centralized exchange too, it's pretty easy. You just have to, swap, just send money to USDC or Atom, or buy Atom and onboard from Atom. And that process also is going to get a lot easier. The integration with USDC and CCTP, that's totally killer. You have like 0 fee transfers. And after that gets packet forwarding middleware, it's like onboarding into Cosmos is just going to be awesome.
Yeah. And then Sergey, what's been your kind of highlight this year? I think Axelar is 2nd or 3rd when it comes to IBC volumes constantly. So that's probably a big achievement. But yeah, what are your kind of highlights of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the stuff that you already mentioned, kind of a pretty high volumes, I think we'll continue to hit across Axelar. We connected all the major, EVM chains this year. Of course, continue to onboard more IBC chains. So the volumes are pretty high. I think there's over 55 networks that are connected through the hub. And so you have like a one-stop shop if you want a connectivity to anything else. To me, the major things for us probably has been, essentially partnerships with all the major DeFi and non-DeFi kind of projects in the space, right? So we have projects that are ongoing with Ondo, dYdX, Uniswap, Lido, right? Centrifuge, some of the guys on this call and like throughout today's hour, Trust Wallet, Ledger Wallet. So you pretty much name it. I can tell you that every application, is going interchain and is going multi-chain and cross-chain over the next year. And I think we're kind of seeing a lot of that activity. So it's pretty excited for me to see. And the final piece, I'll mention, I think this year has been really exciting to talk about with larger enterprises, which, traditionally has been very slow. So, we announced some work we're doing with Microsoft, with JP Morgan a couple of months ago. All of this stuff is very exciting. And I think a lot of, enterprises and a lot of larger players understanding the value of the Web3 stacks. And, I think I'm super excited about that.
A question I actually have about that is like, what specifically do these Web2 companies directly want to do, like with Web3?
Yeah, I mean, they want to tokenize assets, I would say, for the most part, right? And they want to make sure that the assets are efficiently managed, right? So as an example, if you look at the program that we did with JP Morgan and like Onyx blockchain, effectively they had their Onyx blockchain. They wanted connection. You wanted to perform settlement of assets with other chains like Provenance, right? By composing smart contracts with one another without having to move liquidity back and forth, right? So whenever you're talking about these institutions, issuing assets, they need to have regulatory control over them. They need to have like legal control over it. So it's not always the case that they can go and like put them on permissionless chain, but they could put them on some type of a semi-private environment, but they still want to compose it with everything else, right? So I would say that's the biggest use case, and RWAs I think are going to be coming over the coming years. So that's exciting.
Yeah, quick follow-up. You mentioned Microsoft. If there's like a non-financial use case that comes with these Web2 companies tokenizing assets, like what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, for players like Microsoft, they want to be able to host and provide easy ways to launch new chains and new environments, right? So whether or not you want to launch a new chain based on a Cosmos stack, optimistic stack, Arbitrum stack, I think everybody is going into this multi-chain future, right? And for kind of cloud providers and infrastructure providers, they want to give an efficient tooling so that with one click, you can launch a new chain, deploy your application there, manage, and get connectivity, right, to everyone else, whatever the underlying connectivity method is. So that's what some of those cloud providers, I think, are looking for right now.
Yeah, makes sense. And I just wanted to toss in there prior to jumping over to Patrick is that I think Squid helped out Axelar immensely this year. This year should be very grateful for them. I'm sure there's an awesome collaborative relationship there. I think the ease of use on front ends and powering infra like Axelar is extremely important for everybody, users and teams alike. So props to you guys for getting on with that. And thanks for coming out, Sergi. I think actually Rob's got something real quick here.
Andy, before you hop over to Patrick from Jackal, I'll shout out, and Shane hit on this real quick, the integration with Bad Kids. Like Squid just released this one-click purchase for NFTs using Axelar. So if you're going to go buy Bad Kids, I mean, Squid is there and it's easy.
I hope we can agree to all make Bad Kids and one or two other NFTs, and just as the ecosystem rips like this, you guys all have to do what I've done, and you have to contribute to the cause of the NFT with the Pudgy Penguin. You got to do the Bad Kids or whatever it is, and we just got to put these to the moon, boys. I'm telling you, we got to put them to the moon. If you're making money in Cosmos, get the Bad Kids. Let everybody come up with you. Thanks, Sergi and Rob, for the insights. And I met Patrick at Denver with Rob, eating sushi with some cool peeps out at ETH Denver 2 years ago. Patrick's came a long way since then. What are your reflections, Pat? And what are we looking for in 2024, brother?
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild year for us. So we built our blockchain, launched our blockchain. We've kind of scaled. We just so everyone knows, I'll kind of bring it back a little bit. So we built a decentralized physical infrastructure network for data storage and on-chain permissions and programmability and all kinds of cool stuff associated with that. So we launched our chain. We've scaled up. We have about 2 petabytes of storage space available. Now it's about kind of building the demand side of that equation. So we're really focused on that. But it's been a lot of just great building. We're on version 4 of the chain right now. So we've been really successful in the building of everything so far. Now it's about integrations, and we're speaking with a bunch of people on this call. We just integrated with Axelar, actually. We have our node up and running, Sergey, so we're excited about that to get Jackal available and all kinds of other blockchains. I know, Shane, we're working on kind of backing up NFTs, stuff like that. So it's across the board. It's been a lot of integrations and trying to for us, just use blockchain technology for a data permission system and kind of enforce really secure data storage that's self-custodial and all that good stuff. So it's been a wild year for us, and we're just getting started too, which is exciting.
Yeah, we're like semi-low on time, but just to follow up on that is that this investor told me to bet on the infra, right? That's been the thesis of crypto, the fat protocol thesis, right? Jackal can almost become this fat infra layer for the entire IBC and Cosmos stack. People may not even necessarily know that they're interacting with Jackal when they're using Stargaze, when they're using Axelar, etc. Or I mean, when they're using your token to swap, obviously they know, but something like Stargaze, etc. It becomes this hidden piece of incredibly important tech, which I'm bullish on. So it's cool, man.
It's I love the infra side of things, right? It's kind of in the first kind of 2-3 bull markets. We didn't really build like the boring cryptography associated with all this stuff, right? And kind of building out the infra layers and making sure that everything is kind of scalable for where we want these full web scale applications. And we're proud to be kind of one of those guys just building that core just storage layer, just one piece of the stack, right? Speaking about just integrating on different things and kind of using IBC technology as a competitive advantage, and we think this is the reason why IBC wins, is you don't need to be building on Jackal to leverage your storage layer, right? And we see a world where with a simple smart contract call on any generic smart contract L1, you're going to be able to access scalable data storage, things like that, and kind of that outpost model, and bring the value of our blockchain to other blockchains and not really compete for developers, but provide a valuable service is kind of our thought process, and we love it.
Thanks for coming out, brother.
All right.
yeah, we got a wild Jack and the wild brain damage backstage. So yeah, as we're getting them on, Shane, I think Sergey also had to leave earlier. But yeah, Shane, what's kind of your most promising, most exciting thing that you look forward for Cosmos in 2024? Can you hear me, Shane?
I don't want to give away too much. I know we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We have a couple of new tokens. Yeah, I can hear you, but my internet is kind of shitty. So I don't know if you guys can hear me. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, we have a couple of new tokens in the pipeline. Maybe a meme coin or not. I'm not going to give any more details about that. But I'll just kind of leave it there. And the coin might be bad or might not be bad. Who knows?
Definitely a meme coin.
Nice.
Yo,
I'm gonna
like
flex. I'm gonna flex, but I've minted Bad Kids NFTs, like 2 of them.
OG.
So I'm an OG here.
Thanks, Shane, for the alpha. We got a wild Jack. My man, how are you?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm
You're
bummed
on.
I don't get to grill Shane on Win Bad Kids coin because Stargaze is crushing right now. Great to see that community that's sort of stuck together through the bear market, start to see some traction. Yeah, we just bought a few more Bad Kids the other day.
I saw that, yeah, with Strangelove you bought.
Oh yeah, I was also in the mint too, but it's always fun to buy more.
Absolutely.
Rebecca,
hello.
Omar, good to see you guys. Hey.
Hey, Chuck.
Omar.
Hey, everyone. Good to see you.
Hello. Shout out.
I know it's early for you, Rebecca, but thanks for joining. How are you?
I'm good. It is early here, although I think it's early for Jack as well.
Oh yeah,
we're in the same
both
time
in it.
zone.
Is it like 7 a.m. or something?
7:30.
It's 7:30. But we'd only do this for you, Cito.
Well, I also have a toddler waking me up.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Not a luxury I have yet.
Coffee. I made breakfast. Like I'm ready to go.
Nice. So yeah, I mean we're kind of reflecting on the year. We got 300 people listening, and I think they're all curious to hear from you guys, the projects, the team, the builders. What is your highlights of the year? What are you mostly looking forward for 2024? Where do you see Cosmos kind of heading or fitting into the rise of or the comeback of the Solanas out there and everything else? So yeah, maybe Jack, you want to start by just sharing your kind of reflection and outlook?
Yeah, sure. I mean, 2023 is one of those bear market years that I think we'll all remember. I think that I've seen a lot of people talking about how this feels very similar to DeFi summer, where there's a lot of stuff happening on chain. There's a lot of folks from existing communities that are very active, but there's limited participation from new market entrants. This is kind of what this feels like after a very tough bear market for everyone, and I think Cosmos in particular. It's great to see the market validation and folks excited about what we're building again. All of the hard work that everyone put in during the bear is now going to get battle tested, and that's the really exciting part. So yeah, I guess what am I excited about in 2024? There's a number of huge launches coming up, a couple of them on this call, but there's more than I can realistically list or call out. And I think, this is our chance as a community to really make a impression on retail and the sort of broader folks who are interested in crypto during this next market. And we've come a long way on user experience, but I've been buying some meme coins over the last few days, and there's
who has it, brother? Who has it?
I know. It's like that's not my favorite part of crypto. I've spoken about this quite a bit, but it's fucking fun sometimes. And right now it's like extra fun. So yeah, there's still a long way to come, I think, on a lot of the usability stuff. And there's a lot of basic load testing stuff that's happening right now where people are finding out their RPCs are not performant enough to serve the user load. Watching Shane sort of make iterations on Stargaze to ease user onboarding from different platforms is like a great example of what happens during markets like this. So for 2023, I'm really excited to see all of the different pieces of the Cosmos play more closely together and to make that user experience a lot more uniform. And I think that the market pressure is going to end up driving that. Like, just for example, getting over to Injective to go buy autism. Like, you move over from osmosis, but it's a different coin type over on Injective. You have to sign with an Ethereum wallet. I had to use 2 different wallets and 3 different front ends before I figured out a combination that worked for me. And these are the kind of things that we're going to shake out over the next 6 to 12 months.
I hope so. I saw some guy was complaining about Cosmos UI and UX on Twitter. He was prominent. I think it was Santiago. I like what he says. He's EVM native, kind of like Rob and I more or less come from EVM, and it's different. It's different for us, and we're power users. We're heavy degens on chain, right? And so it just takes a little bit of getting used to A, but then if you guys can make it easier B, I mean, everybody's winning. So thank you, man. Brain damage. What's up, man? Or go ahead, Jack, if you want to finish that off.
No, I think, Andy, you're totally right. And I think that the individual chain experience on Cosmos is not quite as smooth as EVM chains for a variety of reasons. But with faster block times and a number of other things, it gets close. Where I think Cosmos really shines is composing applications across multiple chains. And that is so much more seamless than the ETH-L2 world that it's very noticeable for folks like yourselves. And I'd really be interested to hear, because ETH bridging is like literally, that meme where it's like, here's the bridge and it's like the Indiana Jones bridge and there's like missing slats and shit. And I feel like every time I go over a bridge to an L2 or in the ETH ecosystem and I'm locked up for 7 days, and that sucks. That's literally the experience. It's scary. And there've been so many bridge hacks that people are intimidated. But in IBC, it's just like...
Yeah, I mean, I'll just cut you off real quick. Never do we ever wait in EVM land for 7 days. Optimistic fraud proofs are in for optimistic rollups, but actually because optimistic rollups tend to have what's known as a centralized sequencer, aka there's the party which is sequencing and batching transactions is one party. Optimism has the optimistic sequencer, Arbitrum is Arbitrum. Yep. Those parties are they actually are in effectively creating the chain, like the state. And so you can have different bridges with different trade-offs like Axelar, Squid, across. Yeah. You can use intent-based bridging. You can use the hub and spoke model. So you don't ever wait 7 days, but I'm not going to get away from the point, which is like the EVM bridge experience feels like you're moving from different ecosystems to different ecosystems. And the Cosmos bridging and interop experience feels like it's a seamless send, that it's all in one kind of place. And so that is because of IBC. And yeah, man, I think you're spot on with that statement. The way the roll-up world is trying to get into shared sequencers and all these different things to do atomic composability, effectively what IBC kind of already has, which is this ability to share state across thousands of chains.
Yeah.
Decentralized, seamless, trustless way, which is very, very powerful. So yeah.
Andy, that's a really good point about the atomic composability thing. And there's a discussion about this in Cosmos. But this is what I always say about atomic composability. It's a walled garden. It is an architecture where everything flows down into a single superchain. And when you have atomically composable state, there's literally no way to get around that. And, that's good. Scaling individual state machines is fantastic. But there are going to be many, many blockchains. And having a protocol where they can all speak on the same level and applications can offer coherent user experiences across them, that is a killer app. And we see it with IBC. And I think that, this is one of those things where Cosmos has a massive advantage. Really, no one's competing with us in this. Everyone's competing on the walled garden ecosystem. And no one's competing on this truly open, truly permissionless IBC network. And this is how we win.
Bullish on IBC, bullish on Tendermint. Brain damage, what is good?
Hey guys. Yeah, it's It's a nice Friday afternoon. Excited to talk to you guys about IBC. I'm here representing Composable and the Picasso network. We were the first team to extend IBC outside of the Cosmos ecosystem, first to Polkadot, and excited to do the same with Ethereum, Solana, and Arbitrum, and many more networks to come. So yeah, just excited to just talk about the future of IBC.
Definitely. And we're getting some love for Pika in the chat. Can you tell us about like what's going on there?
Yeah, so I think, generally speaking, we've been around since 2021. We've been building for quite some time. I think a lot of people had attempted to, extend IBC to other ecosystems. It's really hard and difficult. We've collaborated with lots of different teams in the ecosystem to make this happen. Polkadot was, the first because there had been some attempts in the past to do so. But now we've actually put this in production last June. Also connecting Polkadot and Kusama over IBC. And so I think this really made the narrative of like IBC everywhere a reality. It's like no longer a meme. It's actually able to compete with players like Axelar, Wormhole, Layer 0, CCIP, all the sort of centralized bridging providers. I think this cycle is really when we get to see IBC flourish as a bridging mechanism, not just because it's more secure, but also because it provides a bunch of the sort of composability aspects we've been discussing here. So Pika is our token for our Cosmos chain and our Kusama chain, which enables this infrastructure to basically work and facilitate these IBC connections.
That also happened to just do like a 20x in the past couple of weeks, just on the side. There's a good question. I also wanted to ask you that actually, which is you said IBC, Solana. So what's the timeline there? When is that happening?
Yeah, so we have an interesting design for Solana where we've had to there are no state proofs on Solana. And so we had to there's two ways to kind of go about this. There's like either wait for the Solana improvement proposals to add a bunch of verification stuff into Solana to like happen, or build a sort of guest blockchain architecture that allows for IBC Solana directly. So we decided to build this out with the University of Lisbon, which we've had that collaboration since February, March of this past year. And yeah, the first step to unlocking IBC Solana will be opening up vaults to power this kind of guest blockchain. So this is where people can restake their Jito Sol, their M Sol, their Orca LP tokens, even bridged assets as well, over Wormhole, etc. And once that vault is live and we have enough TVL, we will then go ahead and open up the Solana IBC connection. So I would say vault's timeline is much sooner than you think. We're hoping sometime in January for the vaults at the minimum, and thereafter, stay tuned for more.
Nice. And you guys got a signaling proposal, right? Up right now.
Yeah, so exactly. So like as we expand to all these different ecosystems, we're deploying the Pika token. We're interested in deploying the Pika token to these different locations. So far, it's within Cosmos, also within the .sama ecosystem. But as we expand to Ethereum and as we expand to Solana, we've put forth signaling proposals. Actually, yesterday, I think today is the last day of voting for people to decide to deploy the Pika token to Solana. So yeah, hoping that if that passes, we would launch the Pika token once the bridge is live, and probably do a launch on Jupiter to sort of start the liquidity pool and list it on Jupiter as kind of the home base of liquidity for the Pika token in Solana.
We have a comment here from Gala saying the games on Saga is going to be the #1 reason why my wife will yell at me in 2024.
Oh my gosh, you can play as well, you know. The games are pretty inclusive. I mean, I personally, I can be a person of extremes, so I definitely like the Candy Crushes of the world. So the more casual games, which anybody can get. I also love Call of Duty. So the same variety exists on Saga. Anyways, bring your wife along. She won't yell at you.
What's the? I also saw that isn't there like an airdrop or something?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I can be open about that now. There is an airdrop because mainnet is coming up Q1 2024. And so naturally at Genesis, we're going to have an airdrop. But how it's structured is mainnet is 6 phases. So phase 1 is going to hit Q1. And then there will be 5 additional phases after that. So 6 phases total. And the phases are relatively short. So we're going to be done with full featured functionality on mainnet by, I guess, like middle of Q2-ish next year. Each phase is associated with an airdrop. Now, obviously, the biggest one comes at Genesis, and that's 6% of our total token supply. And then an additional 4% goes from phases 2 through 6. So we've released very limited eligibility criteria for that so far. Our innovators went first. So everyone who builds on Saga is known as an innovator. And they had to go through a pretty extensive quest, or they can go through a pretty extensive quest in order to get a pretty sizable airdrop. So we gave them a head start. And then we've been doing a play to airdrop campaign with our games. So players can play the games. Once they get on the leaderboard, they're eligible for an airdrop. Our team pulled off a Saga Advent, which is 25 days to Christmas. There's a different tournament or quest every single day. And that's been hugely popular. And it's awesome because we can get some distribution to our games. And that will continue into January, February timeframe. Now, they may not happen every single day, but they're still going to continue. This play to airdrop mechanism is a really, really great way to get user acquisition from the perspective of a chain on behalf of their games. So yeah, and that's not even touching the general airdrop criteria, which we will release probably around 2nd or 3rd week of January.
Can you hint at anything? Because in my airdrop video that I made like last week, I was saying, I think I said it's like not confirmed, because obviously all I can do is to speculate, right? If I don't get the confirmation from you guys.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is there? Can you share that already, or is it too early? The first.
Yeah. No, Steve, I appreciate that. I know that it's not an easy position to put you in, but trust me, there is a method to the madness. So Decrypt ran a feature yesterday on our play to airdrop mechanism, and they did tease at a couple of things. So one is that, you know, we have made clear all along that when it comes to sort of selecting the targets for the general airdrop, we wanted to really reward our early tech partners. That was the big hint that we gave. And we also wanted to reward loyalty. So in the Decrypt story, we went ahead and teased that both the Avalanche and Polygon ecosystems will get airdrops. What that airdrop looks like, it will become clear very soon. Snapshots have.
Did you say Avalanche and Polygon?
Yes.
Where does that tie into what CryptoCito's fans are going to be ranting and raving about?
Guys, have at it. But this is what Saga has been doing all along, which is we have a very unique value proposition in Cosmos technology. And rather than cry about the fact that other ecosystems take this technology and don't give attribution, don't contribute back to the code base, why don't we take our unique position and really make sure other ecosystems can benefit from this technology on our terms? So we have sought partnerships with other ecosystems from the very, very beginning. So for those of you who don't know, Saga is a chain to launch chains. We use Cosmos Interchain Security to achieve this, but we do it permissionlessly. So anyone who wants a chain, which we call a chainlet, gets a chainlet. So when we work with other layer ones, what makes us really unique, and this honestly makes us unique for any sort of application that's building on Saga, is that we are gasless on the front end. So the Saga token is used on the back end by developers to pay to keep their chainlets alive. On the front end, we don't care. You can monetize however you like. Now, when it comes to partnering with an L1, that's pretty much mandatory because you don't want to be competitive with them. You want them to continue to accrue value on their tokens in exactly the same way that they normally would if they were just using their own chain. So at Saga, what we said to them is, you guys are doing these projects that are very clearly reminiscent of Cosmos, whether that's Polygon supernets early on, now with CDK chains, and with Avalanche subnets. We understand the pain of manually standing up this dedicated block space. So why don't we help you and automate that? So that's the partnership that we've had with them since the very beginning of this year, automating Avalanche subnets, automating first supernets, which have now been deprecated, but now CDK chains for Polygon.
Thank you.
So
I think it's a good idea to bring those people from those ecosystems, that liquidity, that mind share, IBC pill them, bring them to Cosmos. That's important. Rob and I are mostly like EVM roll up kind of focused stuff. We're expanding into Cosmos. We're going to bring our EVM community, if you will, to Cosmos, and like people like projects like you and IBC is bringing IBC to these. From these other communities to Cosmos is important. And I don't mean to just cut you off, but we are running super low on time, and just want to say thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I wanna bring on a special guest who just joined us, as you also say EVM, and as you also talk about big launches. I think Saga is definitely one to put in your watch list. But we also got a wild Smokey from the Berachain in the house. Smokey, how are you doing, man?
Hey, Cito. Good to see you guys. Sorry for my tardiness. I hope I don't make it a theme, but yeah, great to be here. And it sounds like you got a lot of smart people discussing a lot of smart things. What a wonderful world.
Yeah, I'm always out there. I think I'm harassing all of you with trying to squeeze out Airdrop Alpha. I know, Smokey, I've also been chasing you down, trying to get out as much as possible. But yeah, what can you say about where you guys stand right now? And kind of, I guess next year is obviously going to be a big year for you guys with the launch. But yeah, where are you guys currently at, and what's the timeline?
Yeah, for sure, man. We've kept things relatively low key for a number of reasons. I think we want to make sure that we're really confident in where we're at before we go out and unveil things to the world. Right now, there's perhaps rumors that you guys might have heard about, but we've basically run a little private testnet internally, so pretty locked down passwords, private RPC, so on and so forth, so that we can actually see, we can basically, I think, distill the wheat from the chaff a little bit, right? We have all these teams that tell us about how they want to build with us, and I kind of wanted to stress test that a little bit and figure out how many people were just, if you'll excuse my French, blowing smoke up our asses, and how many people were actually going to pull up and get involved, right? And I was really happy. We've got like 50 plus teams that are deployed right now on a private testnet. That's honestly, I think, more than some chains will have at mainnet. And there's groups that you guys know, and there's groups that are native and new to the Bear ecosystem. So really excited about that. Trying to find more ways they can actually plug into, I think, take advantage of the SDK under the hood, whether that's with the stateful precompiles as part of Polaris that that I think Jack knows a fair bit about, or whether that's with just working with a Berachain stack and POL and proof of liquidity, as you say. So to answer your question directly, man, we'll have our testnet live in Q1, sooner than one might expect. So I'd say keep eyes peeled over the next few weeks, and we'll keep live in Q2. So.
Smokey. We're stoked to validate, and what you guys have been building is something special. Polaris is a huge step up in the EVM experience on Cosmos. Really looking forward to seeing this live.
Thank you. And look, like what we really want to be able to do is get the best of both worlds, right? I've never been secretive about the fact that I'm not always the biggest fan of the Cosmos community in terms of the themes that go around and perhaps the degree of infighting that we see, and that also comes with the degree of decentralization that we have. But I actually think that if you get, EVM on the top, Cosmos on the bottom, and get the best of both worlds in terms of access to a great modular interoperable stack, but ease of access from liquidity and user flows, you can really do a lot of good things for both sides. So fingers crossed, lots of work to be done, lots of team expansion happening in parallel, but we just want to do it right. So that's where we're at.
You guys have built a great brand, Smokey. Just the vibe, this subliminal vibe when you hear Berachain, it's one of light spirits and like just a good vibe, and it almost gives you like this it's like a jester type of like really welcoming vibe. But I know that you guys are back in there being serious, which is like awesome, and actually building great shit. So thanks for coming out and joining Cito's stream, and keep it up, brother. Let's get some airdrop alpha to Cito soon, please.
Much appreciated, man. Much appreciated. And like that's exactly it, right? We try to be I think representative, like the horseshoe theory kind of thing, right? There's far left curves, there's people who are like, yo, like funny bear JPEG, I will engage in this. And then there's people who are like, oh, like POL, like novel implementation of EVM on Cosmos, perhaps something that actually drives value to applications building on this blockchain and allows for new primitives around security. It's like, maybe there's
That'll get Jack going. That'll get Jack going. All the rest, that'll get all the meme coiners going.
The joke that we were talking about was like, is Bera the ultimate meme coin of Bera because it's already animal themed? I don't know, right? But we'll find out, I suppose.
So you said mainnet launch target Q1?
Q2, man. So we'll have testnet
Q2.
for sure live in Q1 and mainnet Q2. So I think that there'll be a lot more activity from us over the next few weeks. So I just say, stay engaged. We want to make it as authentic and as original as possible, and we intend to have some games involved there that I think are representative in that same manner, like a little left curve, a little right curve. Definitely ways to win if you engage enough in the games, and definitely ways that it appeals to some of us who just want to fuck around and find out.
Appreciate it, man. And then Rebecca, you said
very on brand.
Q1 or what?
It's very on brand.
You gonna?
Cito, I have to run, guys. Thanks a lot. Happy holidays, everybody. And we got a huge year coming up in Cosmos. You guys have a great one. Thanks a lot.
It's good to see you, Jack. Take care.
Going back to meme coin trading. But yeah, Rebecca, what you said earlier, Q1 mainnet, is that right?
Q1, that's right.
Nice.
That's
and
right.
And Omar, brain damage, when is Composable going live? We got Pika already.
Yes.
When layer?
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to be launching these like restaking vaults on Solana, which is kind of going to be the first example of this intent-centric, like super sleek user experience application that kind of sits on top of all these different IBC connections. I think once swaps are live between these different ecosystems, and it really is truly like straightforward for people to do things, including cows, RFQ systems, and the like, we'll be able to then be in a position where launching layer token actually makes sense to sort of be this like user-facing, order flow oriented application that sits at the crossroads of like everything that is connected over IBC. So yeah, there's Q1 is going to definitely be a very big time for us, and I think thereafter we'll have more updates around timelines for layer.
Bullish. Sounds good. Rebecca, final word to you. What's your? I mean, obviously next year is huge for you guys. Finally, mid launch, but maybe just like in general, crypto or Cosmos specific. Like, is there anything else that you say that's something you're super excited about for Cosmos in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that 2024 is a make or break year for crypto. And I'll get into sort of our macro thinking in a little bit, but before I move on, so I don't want to alarm people who are on this live stream. It's not that we're only airdropping to Polygon and Avalanche, of course not. So yes, I mean, there will be some very, very familiar names when the criteria comes out. But I wanted to call out Polygon Avalanche because that is something that we told Decrypt yesterday. And it is different. It's different from what most Cosmos projects do. But rest assured, you will see some familiarity when the criteria comes out. Now, in terms of what we're excited about for crypto in general and Cosmos, I mean, earlier on the call, Jack had mentioned it's a huge amount of activity, a lot of whales, but it's a small group of people. And I think 2024, we have to decide as a crypto ecosystem, do we just want to play with that small group of people, or do we want to welcome on that mass adoption? And you hear so much about consumer apps and like the normies and people from Web 2 coming into Web 3, but the proof is really in the pudding. I do think that there has been a really, really strong flavor within just the general crypto ecosystem of like, get off my lawn. Like, I have found my community of people where we understand each other's language, and this is a very tight-knit group, and I don't want anyone to come in, regardless of like what VCs force me to say, or what like CoinDesk wants to drum up in terms of like general adoption. But I really do think that that attitude is going to have to change in 2024. And that's one of the big missions of Saga. Is there's a reason why, even though we are a general L1, we focus specifically on gaming and entertainment, because we think that the cultural aspect of crypto and Web3 in general is what's going to bring on that mass adoption. So we're super excited about that. There are currently over 300 projects building on Saga. So when we hit mainnet, a lot of them will go live immediately, and that's going to be super, super exciting. There's some major game titles that we have held off announcements on because nobody really announces big things like that in December. But come January, February timeframe, we will be putting out those announcements. We've said all along, again, we're for the casual gamer, but if you're looking for that really cinematic AAA experience, that is also possible on Saga, given that we elastically scale in our system. So looking forward to all of that. And in terms of the Cosmos, again, I think it's, you know, about fucking time that we were recognized for the wonderful technology that we have. And rather than go on Twitter and cry about how people are stealing it, why not give it to the other ecosystems and make them pay? So that's what we're looking forward to next year.
And also congrats, I think you landed placeholder, right? Placeholder VC.
Correct.
And Chris Berniske, that's a great value add, I think, for for Saga. And honestly, I think, like you said, like gaming in Cosmos specifically, I think is severely underexplored, right? There's currently like not much, right? So you guys are there. We also try to get Lex from Passage on. I think they're also doing really cool stuff. Less like pure focus on gaming, but I think it's also covering that. He couldn't join, unfortunately, today. But I think that's a big puzzle in the Cosmos, a big piece in the Cosmos puzzle that's coming together. So
thanks for that, Cito. Placeholder has been wonderful. Very, very happy to have them on, and Chris in particular. But with respect to Passage, so Passage is one of our innovators building on us. They are more metaverse. That's true. It's more metaverse as opposed to strictly gaming. But I got to warn y'all, like people talk about gaming all the time, especially in roll-up land, because everybody asks, what is the use case exactly for all this dedicated block space that's being stood up? And there are some very, very particular DeFi use cases like dYdX. But by and large, it really is gaming and massive NFT collections that need the sort of dedicated block space. But gaming is the hardest app to crack. It is a very, very difficult tech stack. And you can have a simple mechanism for DeFi that ends up exploding into something quite valuable. There is no such thing as a simple game mechanism. Even the most addictive game loops that seem like just 3 or 5 steps, they take a long time to design and to implement. And then the whole tech stack with respect to the live ops, the game engine, that is all a part of it, not just the base chain itself. So at Saga, it helps that our tech team has been incredibly product focused. So we make sure that when a developer does come to develop on Saga, that they have the full integrated tech stack to work with. But there's a reason why gaming is hard.
Yeah, gaming's tough because there's a lot of dev work as you've mentioned, amongst other things. So thank you for sharing some of that vision. And Cito, man, I mean, what a space! I mean, what a stream!
What a space! It's been amazing. And also, just one small detail to clarify, because I think people might be confused. You mentioned ICS earlier, but not that Saga would use Atom ICS, but instead Saga basically becomes a security provider similar to the Cosmos Hub and Atom. Just one thing. But anyways, Rebecca, great to hear from you. Gaming is going to be big. Brain damage also. I think Pika, Composable, what you guys are doing is God's work. Bringing IBC everywhere. I think that's going to be a big theme for next year. So thank you both for joining. I'm going to kick you off. And then I think that was it. So how do you guys feel?
Bullish.
2 hours.
So bullish.
So bullish, dude.
Tired.
There's a low market cap that I found that was maybe.
Oh yeah.
I like low market caps.
We're still live, by the way.
It's fine. Keep them going. Keep them going.
There was a 3 million market cap somewhere. Someone mentioned. So I'm like, and there's a solid team.
How about that bad kids potential Stargaze?
No
financial advice ever from the roll up nor Cito. However, we did hear bad kids coin.
Oh, that was wild. Yeah.
Did we?
I think so.
I think
what
so,
was the
dude.
highlight? We had Shane talk about teasing a bad kids coin. That would be crazy. Babylon, I think, is going to be a big launch. We had Berachain and Saga. I think those are going to be big launches. Union was there. We had airdrops announced.
We heard lots of airdrops.
Tons coming to Cosmos ecosystem. Tons.
Yeah.
And
I was trying to farm some airdrops on on Avalanche this past week, but I'll be honest with you, it's absolute dog shit. Have you guys used like on any of the DeFi platforms on Avalanche? And Avalanche is not
expensive.
It's the inscription.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It's
but man, just bridging to Cosmos to one of these chains, and then trying to just conduct actions for those airdrops was great. I think that everybody was just excited, man. I feel like Cosmos and again, Rob and I are coming at this from the perspective of like, we have been involved since 2020 with an eye on Cosmos with capital in, but we haven't been like, deep entrenched. And so we're coming at this like, you guys have just kind of collectively came about post-Terra, post the bear market, built dope shit, and people are optimistic about what's going to happen. And like actually IBC, about the Cosmos model, the app chain model, like people are really, really bullish.
Yeah. But also, to be honest, it's been a tough year. I think, Cosmos every year, I think they have like there's always one wave of drama across the ecosystem for some reason. So it's been also the same case this year. But I feel like the recent 6-7 weeks where just everything went up 5, 6, 7x, right? We had Branger on, like Pika did it like 20, 30x. All these coins are pumping. So I think that obviously is the best form of marketing, when just the whole ecosystem collectively moans. And I feel like a lot of people are putting Cosmos alongside Solana on their 2024 kind of narrative roadmap, So
this last comment in the chat about inscriptions and meme coins hurting AVAX. It's almost like the memers are like testing which networks can handle the memes. And like once you test out, you kind of like filter out all the ones that aren't able to handle it because of gas. It's almost like Solana and Cosmos are the two that are able to hold up to all of the transaction throughput.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, this was really cool. Also, Andy, Robbie, thank you so much for co-hosting this. I think, it's been a interesting session with 25 speakers we had on Axelar Network, Agoric. We had them all. So
dYdX, Charles loved it. I just message in the chat. Could you pin that real quick? If you're still listening, Rob and I have been in DeFi for 3 years. We have done tens of thousands of transactions on chain. We compile all of our information every single day, every single week into our newsletter, our podcast, our media, our live streams. We are at The Rollup Co. on YouTube and on Twitter at The Rollup. Look in the comments. Come give us a sub, give us a follow, join our community. Everything's free. We drop tons of airdrop alpha across other ecosystems. We'll be covering Cosmos more and more. Probably we'll be doing more stuff with Cedo, so you're going to see more of this. I think today was a vibe. I mean, it was great. I think we're going to get a ton of positive feedback from this. So come check us out. We're the 2 pudgy penguins on Twitter. Bad kids, all the good vibes. Rob,
drop the links here in the chat.
In the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I think today was a bit of like a year-end kind of recap, but I think this could even be like a quarterly thing, or once every 6 months, where we just capture the state of Cosmos with major ecosystem builders and teams. Because I think the community really appreciates that. We had like 350 people. We still have 250 people watching right now. So. Yeah, if that's also what people want, please let us know. But I see good feedback in the comments. So, thanks a lot. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with the Inter Protocol.
Let's run that back turbo. Merry Christmas.
See you guys.
Peace.